Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review, and today will be a special double feature as we showcase two prominent characters from the upcoming Flash movie. Okay, so today is April 20th, 2023. I just received these figures 20 minutes ago from Amazon, and I'm really excited to check them out, so I thought I'd do a quick video. Alright, so first, on our left, we have Supergirl from the upcoming Flash movie as portrayed by actress Saja Kaye. And then on our right, we have Batman as portrayed by Michael Keaton. So these are two figures fans are greatly anticipating, and so far from what I've seen in the box, they look great. So let's get started. So you'll notice they both have the DC Multiverse and Flash logo towards the bottom. On the side, Batman is listed as Multiverse the Flash, and Supergirl is just listed as the Flash. Not quite sure why he's listed as Multiverse, whereas she is not. On the back, for each figure, you're getting just like a comic book inspired illustration of both characters. Kind of interesting that they didn't use any like promotional photography from the movie, but it's alright. I dig that. And let's get started. Let's first start with Supergirl. Alright, so with Supergirl, in addition to getting the trading card, which you see on the upper right, you're also getting a flight stand. I believe this is the flight stand we've gotten before with multiple McFarlane figures. And here we have Supergirl. And first impressions while she's in the tray, it looks really nice. It's a very clean looking figure. She does come with alternate hands, as you can see right here. One hand is an open palm, the other is a fist. And in terms of the stock hands, her right hand is a fist, and then her left hand is opened. So let's take her out. Hopefully there aren't too many ties holding her in, so we can get through this pretty quickly. Alright, so we have Supergirl as portrayed by actress Saja Kaye. The likeness, it's a really well sculpted face. It's very clean. The hair looks nice. As to whether or not, the accuracy is there, I still have yet to see the movie. So, but it's a clean sculpt. I like it a lot. The eyes, they don't look perfectly centered on my figure. That just might be mine. But it's a really nice looking head sculpt. The hair has some light dry brushing to really accent the details. A really rich shade of blue for her uniform. It's a really nice deep color. And much like other McFarlane figures, an incredible amount of texturing throughout the uniform as well. You can see right there. It's very clean. I don't think it gets muddy at any point. Although there is a little blotch right there. again, that just might be on my figure only. The Superman or Supergirl emblem is nicely done. It has a shade of gold and red. So it's a really nice looking figure. Yeah, the little blotch there, that might just be my figure. So the cape, it's okay. I think the one issue I have with the cape is that I've said this before in lots of videos. Like for me, I prefer my capes to flow just straight up and down. This one kind of flows out towards outward towards her right, which it looks a little bit more dynamic. But depending on your display space and your shelf, this might get in the way of other figures. But it's all right. It's not that excessive of a footprint. It's a little bit thicker than I'd like to. It's especially around this folded area. I might add a little bit of weight to the figure, but it does come with a flight stand. So the cape's a really rich red as well. So she has a really nice color scheme. It's definitely very vibrant, very eye-catching. In terms of her articulation, her head, of course, rotates. Does she look down? A little. Does she look up? Not too much. Slight angle. It'd be nice if you could get her head further back, especially since, she could fly. Her arms, they rotate. They go outward. There's a bicep cut. Double pinned elbow. Articulated wrists. And unfortunately, it's a little bit too ball-shaped. Which, it's not a deal breaker by any means, but with a lot of recent McFarlane figures, it seems like they've been keen on trying to have the wrist conform more to the shape of the forearm, and it kind of does, I guess, depending on the angle it's at. So I take that back. She has a cut mid torso, so she allows her to roll around. She could crunch forward about there, arch back fully about there, which is nice because it kind of makes up for the fact that she can't look up. So if you want to get her in a flight pose, let's see if we could do that. Yeah, so if you want to get her in a flight pose, you could do that, and it's pretty decent too. So even though she lacks the angle going back at her neck, at least with her back and the mid torso, you could arch her back far enough to get her in a full flight position. Well, which looks really good. It's actually really nice. Her waist swivels, as always. Legs kick up about there, and they kick outward, so she could probably go full splits. Mild, very mild swivel at the thigh, double pinned knees, and articulated ankles and toes. So yeah, it's a great figure. Definitely impressed with it. I think the only thing that kind of bothers me is that with some figures, especially towards the pelvic area, that kind of lower sleeve here, it kind of looks unsightly depending on the angle. I kind of wish it was, conform better to the shape of her hips. But it's all right. I think it's pretty decent nonetheless. So overall, I think it's a great figure. If this is something that you've been anticipating, I think it's well worth the wait. And it's really cool. I like this figure a lot. It's nice. Right, so next let's do Batman. Everyone's excited about the Michael Keaton Batman, myself included. Let's take him out. Alright, so much like other McFarlane figures, he comes with the display base and also the trading card. He comes with a couple of accessories. He comes with extra pair of hands. These look like they're closed fists. Comes with his grappling gun, which is painted silver, and also his batarang, which is also silver. Alright, so we have the Michael Keaton Batman, which everyone's excited for, myself included. And the one thing you'll take notice of is that unlike most McFarlane Batman figures, he actually has a cloth cape. And this is to accommodate him being inserted into the Batmobile and also the McFarlane Batwing. I believe the only other McFarlane Batman figure that has the cloth cape, I think it's the... Is it the Batman Gold Label Year 2 figure? The one that's Batman in his gray and blue uniform with the ovalized logo. I think that came with 2 cape options. Had that giant, really long, like Spawn-like plastic cape, and I think it also came with maybe a wired cloth cape. So this might be the second time we've gotten the Batman with a cloth cape. If I'm wrong, just correct me down below. And here we have Batman. I don't know, I'm not sure if there's something wrong with his eyes. He looks kind of weird. Or at least on my figure, it almost looks like his pupils are too large. It almost looks clownish in a weird way. But it's kind of, I don't know, is that noticeable? Yeah, it looks, I don't know, it could just be my figure, but his pupils look way too big. It's like a very large, like, blue blob. But that just might be my figure. And I think it depends on the viewing angle also. Fortunately, that his brow kind of covers over, so there's always going to be a shadow casted over his eyes somewhat. So it kind of like dilutes that blue. But looking at it straight on, you can kind of see how large the pupils are. I kind of wish the painting along the face was a little bit cleaner, because as you can see on my figure, the flesh tone kind of like is kind of like oversprayed onto the mask on this side. I know it sounds nitpicky, but you know, there's people that will kind of care about that kind of stuff. If you're a customizer, you can easily just clean up the face yourself, or even the eyes. But it's a nice sculpt. The head looks fantastic. Now keep in mind, even though this is Michael Keaton, it looks like it's an updated armor. You know, this isn't the '89 Batman or the Batman Returns costume. Very interesting design for the utility belt. He has the 3 fins on the gauntlets with elevated plating on the bracers. He has shoulder pads up here. Unique look for the cowl. This is completely new. It wasn't like this in the previous films. Alright, so I noticed this in the box. So there's some, like, it's almost like a grayish green dry brushing effect on his boots. So I'm not sure if his boots are kind of a different color, or if it's supposed to indicate, like, you know, he's just dirty and grimy from running around all day. a nice detail, but I think it breaks up the character a little too much. You know, until I see the movie and see it for myself, you know, I think it looks kind of weird that just his boots have this weird grayish green dry brushing effect on it, where the rest of his costume's just all black. Because if his boots are just, you know, natively black, they should have just left it alone. It kind of reminds me of the old Power of the Force ATST, where they just kind of like spray painted the feet like brown to like resemble dirt, but it just looked it just looked really gross. But again, this might be something that you could probably easily take off, because I'm assuming the foot is probably like black plastic, so you might be able to take this off with like maybe thinner or some other solvent, or maybe even rubbing alcohol, if it bothers you that much. But overall, it's a very, you know, it's a very decent looking figure. In some ways, I don't want to say I'm disappointed, but you know, when I compare it to Supergirl, Supergirl just has so much going on in her costume in terms of her texture, and it just looks really nice. This could just be the, you know, the result of the design of it, but his costume, it's just a very flat black. Not that I mind that, but you know, it's this quality plastic's also a little bit more prone to scuffing and scratching, so it doesn't look as clean as like some other figures we've gotten in the past. And there is a nice micro texture on parts of the armor. Like you can definitely see there's a difference between the chest versus the abdomen. Like the abdomen has a slight micro texture, whereas the chest is just really smooth. Now in terms of his articulation, Batman's head rotates, of course. Does he look down? Actually, nah, it's all right. It kind of slopes downward. Does he look up? Yeah, actually, it's impressive. He looks up pretty well, which is nice, because if you want to recreate the pose like from the trailer where he's diving down, you know, at least get his head tilted back. His arms rotate. They go outward. But unfortunately, the shoulder piece here collides with the shoulder, so his range of motion is going to be kind of limited going upward. He has a bicep cut. There's a butterfly joint under there, much like all McFarlane figures. Double pinned elbows, articulated wrists, cut mid-torso, so he could bend about that far forward. Arch back about there, not too much. Swivel at the waist. His legs kick up, kick outward, not all the way. Double pinned knees. The pin is excessively large. And articulated ankles and toes. So overall, I think it's a fantastic looking figure. You know, if this is something you've been waiting for, I think you'll be very happy with it. One thing to take notice of also is that every time I move his arm, his cape gets caught underneath the shoulder pad. So just be aware of that. And I'm sure he'll look fantastic once the Batmobile comes out, and same with the Batwing. So I did not pre-order the Batwing or the Batmobile. I think they look great. Partially because I'm very fond of the original Kenner Batmobile, and I have no room for the McFarlane one, even though it looks beautiful. But one thing I've noticed that some people have commented on is that the canopy on it looks a little bit too tall. And if you've watched the video, I don't think Todd actually puts Batman inside of the Batmobile in the demonstration video. So, you know, we'll see how well he fits in it. Same with the Batwing. You know, right here, we could try to like pretend what his seated position will be like. You know, to see how far his legs fold. So I'm guessing if you put him in the Batmobile, you know, it's nice that he has the cloth cape. I think it would have been better if they made the cape removable, because as someone who's had multiple Batmobiles, you know, throughout my childhood, you know, trying to get Batman in the Batmobile always seemed easier when they could remove the cape. But it looks like you can like get him in a nice seated position. His horns might be a little bit too high, possibly. And then his legs, depending on how much foot space to give him in the Batmobile or the Batwing, you know, they're going to be about his shoulder width apart. So, you know, a lot to look forward to with the upcoming release of those vehicles. So yeah, these are great figures. You know, I recommend them highly. And I'm really curious to see what other companies are going to do in terms of producing these figures. You know, what Sideshow is going to do if they produce them, or if, you know, if we get a Figure Arts figure of either of these characters. But yeah, great purchase overall. If you're excited about them, you should be. These are nice. So, all right, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.